Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News, to the post-match live analysis, where the match between Barcelona and Girona just ended with a clear and convincing victory by Girona, 2-4 at the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic, in what was a disastrous second half by Barcelona, where I think very, very few players can go home feeling good about their match. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and this is the post-match live analysis, which are the live streams that begin right after a Barcelona match ends, where we discuss or where we review the match. And of course, this is not to be confused with the live streams that happen on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the actual Barcelona news. Now, having said that, I do have a small announcement. I am leaving town tomorrow. I'm going to be gone for almost 2 weeks. I'm traveling for the holidays, but don't worry. I'm taking my camera and computer with me. I will continue to bring you daily videos with Barcelona's news. The only difference is I will be doing short live streams, 10-minute live streams every day to bring you the news. There won't be like a regular live streams where I interact with you through the comment section. So I won't be reading any comments or answering any questions. It'll be just very short live streams every day I'm gone, just to give you the daily news. That way you can stay up to date on Barcelona's news. So no long live streams Mondays and Wednesdays, just 10-minute live streams every day while I'm gone to give you the most up-to-date Barcelona news. Now, before we begin, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kickback. If you are looking to place any sports bets, which hopefully you didn't bet on Barcelona winning today, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links for kickback and Bet Us are in the description. Now let's begin with analyzing this disaster of a match between Barcelona and Girona, where Girona completely exposed Barcelona, both defensively and offensively, showing us the long list of weaknesses that Barcelona have. Now, the crazy thing about this match is that Barcelona had an incredible first 35 minutes where the team looked really well. Barcelona were moving the ball fast. There was a lot of combination, a lot of 1-2s, a lot of triangulation, something that I always complain that Barcelona doesn't do. And Barcelona, not only were they doing it during the first 30 minutes, but they were doing it really well, creating a lot of chances. And in fact, when Girona scored the first goal, it came during the most odd time because Barcelona were actually dominating the match. But yet it was Girona the ones who opened up the score with that defensive gaffe by Andreas Christensen, where he did not time that ball well and ended up costing us a goal, which is something weird because this is not common of Andreas Christensen. These are not the kind of mistakes that you expect out of the Danish player. But I guess you could say it was a little bit expected that he's not going to be on top of his game because he didn't train a lot this week, because he did travel to Denmark because his wife gave birth to his second son. But nonetheless, great, excellent first 30 minutes by Barcelona, moving the ball really well, creating a lot of chances. We're not clinical with those chances, so Barcelona were only able to score one goal, which was Lewandowski's goal. And then towards the end of the first half, the team began to fall apart. Now, I don't know if this was because the team was tired, because after all, the first 30 minutes were very intense with lots of back and forth, which was something that was expected. You know, Girona, like Barcelona, it's a team that likes to have the possession of the ball. They like to move the ball quick. They like to attack a lot. So there was a lot of back and forth, very entertaining match. And towards the end of the first half, the team just looked like they were losing intensity. They started to lose the control of the match, and that's when Girona imposed themselves. And then came the halftime, and I don't know what happened during the halftime. I don't know if Xabi, instead of motivating the players, gave them an opposite speech where it demotivated them even more, because the second half was a total disaster. The team completely fell apart. And even though the first maybe 15 minutes of the second half where the team had the possession of the ball, were trying to attack a lot, it was not due to Barcelona's performance or Barcelona's domination of the match. It was more Girona who decided that they had exhausted a lot of energy during the first half. So instead, they decided to cede the ball to Barcelona, wait in the back, kind of like to rest a little bit and just let Barcelona attack. And despite Girona ceding the ball to Barcelona and Barcelona having the possession of the ball, there's nothing we could do with that ball. We went back to our old selves. Instead of playing like the first 30 minutes of the match, we went back to moving the ball really slow, doing side passes, doing back passes, and in the last-ditch effort, sending crosses into the box, hoping someone would push them in. And the team looked like they had completely run out of ideas. And as a result, Barcelona weren't able to create any meaningful chances or any danger. And then once Girona had caught their breath and decided that it's time to put the foot on that accelerator, they completely exposed us once again, showing us that they were a much superior and a much better team, despite having a much, much smaller budget and having players who are not of the caliber of Barcelona's players. And they completely exposed us defensively, scoring a total of 4 goals, not in the second half, but over the entire match. And this was an absolute disaster. And I think that with this match, I can confidently say that we can kiss this La Liga season goodbye. I don't see Barcelona winning this league. It was already very difficult to see it or imagine it. But after today's match, we saw that Barcelona are simply light years from being a top team or from being a top contender. And I think I can confidently say that with this match, La Liga is over for us. Now, that means that only maybe Copa del Rey, maybe the Spanish Super Cup are still in play. But I think La Liga season is gone. Of course, if we can't win La Liga season, there's no way we can win in the Champions League. So it is not looking good. And I have to say that not many people will be saved from criticism today. I know a lot of people are angry with Xavi. And yes, it is partly Xavi's fault. I have criticized him in the past and said that he's not an adequate coach for Barcelona. But today, it was not just Xavi's fault. And a lot of players are to blame for today's performance. But of course, I will discuss that once I start discussing the formation. But first, let's dig into the comment section. Let's do a few comments, answer a few questions, get a discussion going. And then I'll talk more specifically about the players because, again, it's not only Xavi who's to blame here. A lot of the players are to blame here as well. For the exception of 2 or maybe 3 players, pretty much everybody did horribly in today's match. All right, let's see. What is everybody saying? Wow, there's a lot of comment section. Thank you, guys. 160 people watching. That's pretty amazing. Thank you for joining. And a lot of activity in the chat section. I love it. Keep it coming. I love the discussion. Jesus is King says, I wonder if you guys did not see the impact he had on the game. He was involved in the first goal and almost created another. If not Lewa, Rafinha could not do any of that all match. So, okay, Jesus King, I guess, is talking about Lewandowski. Lewandowski did miss a couple of chances today, which was unfortunate. He did also score the goal. So I don't want to say he did great, but I don't want to say he was bad either because he did score after all. But there's more players to blame, and I will talk about it in a little bit. All right. Larson says, if we think like that, then Rafinha assisted the first goal. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but let's keep going. What else? Carlos says that defense was struggling today. Everyone was lost. So much space. Also, Girona, it's a great team. Their ball movement was insane. That's how you would expect Barca to play. 100% agree with your statement. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I agree with you 100%. All right, let's see. What else? Tim, who's always in the live streams. Thank you, Tim. Says Barca can't move the ball that way because stupid Xavi is putting all the players in attack and all of them are waiting in front of the goal. Like he's not understanding that attackers need space. Part of it is true, but another part is these players, man. Anyways, I'll talk a lot more. And Blaurana Kule says Mo taking another 6 minutes to go live because he's too pissed off to talk right now. You're actually right. I was gonna start at 5:15 p.m. But then I was pretty fuming and I said, you know what? You need to calm down, take a deep breath, and then start the live stream, because I didn't want to start the live stream with F this and F that and F everybody. So you are not wrong, my friend. Anyways, let's get back to the formation. Let's talk about a little bit more specifically about the players, because again, as I said, nobody is safe today. I think besides 2 or 3 players, everybody was to blame, not just Xavi Hernandez. Of course, it's easier to blame the coach because he is the coach after all, but there was a lot lacking from Barcelona's players. Now, this was the formation that Xavi started, the same formation as the match against Atletico Madrid and against Porto, with Iñaki Peña, of course, replacing the injured Mark ter Stegen. I gotta say, Iñaki Peña, of course, there's not much he could do with those 4 goals that was scored, but he did have some pretty crucial saves. I think this match could have easily been 6, maybe 7 goals against us. So he did his job when he could have. As far as the 4 goals, there's not much that Iñaki Peña could have done to stop those. Joao Cancelo on the left back with Christensen and Araujo both as center backs, and Jules Koundé as a right back. Now, from this whole defensive line, I think the only one that we can save is Ronald Araujo. Because as always, Ronald Araujo was playing with heart, was there to stop and intercept crucial passes, was solid defensively, and of course, as always, he tries to help with the offense as much as possible. So Ronald Araujo did his job like he always does. But besides him, I don't think we can say anything good about the remainder of the players. Let's start with Jules Koundé, who was absolutely abysmal this match, was so slow. He was running like he had cement blocks on his feet, extremely slow, misread a lot of plays. And in fact, the final goal, the 4th goal, was partly his fault when he completely allowed that cross into the box. It was also Joao Cancelo's fault, but nonetheless, Jules Koundé was also at fault for that last goal. Completely horrible match by Jules Koundé, who for some reason, his form keeps declining and declining. Last season, I was fully convinced that the best duo was Ronald Araujo and Jules Koundé as our center backs. Now, with this season, I don't know what's going on with the French player, but his form has been on the decline. Andreas Christensen, not his best match. First goal was entirely his fault. He completely mistimed that tackle, allowing that ball to go through, leaving Girona's player face-to-face with the goalkeeper. Not his best match. But again, he did miss a lot of trainings because his child was born. So I can't fully blame him. But not the best match by Andreas Christensen, who unfortunately is not making a strong case for himself right now as far as being offloaded. Now on the left back, we saw Joao Cancelo once again replace Alejandro Balde, who has seemed who has lost his spot on the starting lineup. And I gotta say, also not a good match by Joao Cancelo, constantly losing the ball, constantly attempting dribbles, unnecessary dribbles, constantly done and do unnecessary moves. And it was just not good match for him offensively, which is what he's mostly known for. And it was even a worse match for him defensively, where he was constantly being beaten and where he was constantly allowing passes behind him. And in fact, the 4th goal was also his fault alongside with Koundé, because he completely forgets about Estuani, who's right behind him, completely forgets about him, allows Estuani to receive the ball in the box and score the goal. Complete disaster match by Joao Cancelo and Koundé, and not the best match by Andreas Christensen. And overall, our defense was just horrendous. It was so porous. It's like the defense wanted Girona to have space. Whenever Girona had the ball, all I would see was the defense just open up, like, come in. Why not? And I think this is something I've seen a lot in the last few matches, where the defense just stands and watches. When an opposing player gets the ball, instead of running to close the space, instead of running to take the ball from that player, they just stand back and they watch the player with the ball, and I just don't get it. It's like they're spectators. And I've seen that over and over again, and today was no difference. The only difference, of course, was that Girona were able to capitalize on those mistakes and ended up scoring 4 goals. where it could have easily been 6 or 7. But anyways, let's get back to the chat section, and then we'll talk about the rest of the lineup, and then we'll also talk about the substitutions, which were interesting to say the least. But anyways, let's see. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Touch me. Sama says, even worse when Barca doesn't create chances at all. Barca did create chances during the first 30 minutes. The problem was we couldn't finalize them. And during the second half, we did not create much because it was the same old story, just sending crosses into the box and hoping for the best. Okay, let's see what else. Xander says, how can we have most of the possession and 31 shots and still ended up losing 4-2 to Girona and just came out of relegation last 2 seasons ago? It's really frustrating. Xabi needs to up his game. The problem is we cannot finish. We cannot finalize. When we create chances, we can't finalize. And that's a big, big problem. And then it's obvious. It's expected when you look at who is in our offensive line. And I will talk about it a little bit more, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but let's keep going. Jesus is King says Rafinha needs to be playing in Marseille, not in Barca. 100% agree. I'll talk about him a little bit more. And Skinny Koala says, okay, we didn't score. That's not Xavi's fault, but what was the defense? Their positioning is his fault. Not fully, because after all, as a defensive player, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You know, Cancelo completely forgetting about Estuani being behind them and allowing them to just bring the ball down and score. That's not really his fault. McParsa says, Mo, partition to bring Alba. No, we don't need Alba back. Alba's old. He's done. All we need is fresh blood in the team, not more old people. Jesus is King says, forget Lewandowski. We all know he's old man, but with a better coach, Barca would perform better. And we'll do one more comment, and then we'll get back to the formation. And Larson says, I don't seem to understand how it's Xavi's fault that we are one of the few top teams who doesn't exceed our goal ratios. Is that what you're trying to say? Because we miss stuff like Lewa's chances. As I said, Xabi is partly to blame because this team is not improving. This team is extremely erratic. We play 1-2 good matches, and then we have 10 bad matches. But today, it was not just Xabi's fault. It was also the players' fault. And speaking of the players, let's get back to the formation. Because in the midfield, we had Ilkay Gundogan with Frankie and Pedri as interiors. The only thing I'll say about the midfield is that Xabi really, really erred when it came to Pedri's substitution. I don't know if Pedri is still getting into shape after that long injury, but Pedri, by the end of the first half, he looked already tired. And I'm not blaming Pedri because, again, he was gone for almost 2 months due to injury. But I do blame Xabi for waiting until the 80th minute to substitute Pedri when Pedri already looked exhausted by the 40th minute. And that's one thing that we can't blame Xabi, because Pedri should have been substituted during halftime and should have brought Fermin Lopez much, much earlier, who, as soon as, by the way, Fermin Lopez hits the field, he was playing like, again, it was the Champions League final, and he should have put in Fermin way, way earlier. That's the only thing I say about the midfield, because the midfield did a good job. And I have to say, Ilkay Gundogan is slowly starting to look more and more like the Ilkay Gundogan from Manchester City. Superb match by the German-Turkish midfielder, who was solid defensively, was distributing the ball, was combining well with his teammates. He was making really good runs to the box, and he had that really good goal towards the end of the match, which unfortunately was not enough. But superb match by Ilkay Gundogan, one of the very few players that gets saved from criticism today. And I really like that I'm seeing the progression of Ilkay Gundogan, where we're seeing him getting more and more adjusted to Barcelona, and slowly we're starting to see that Manchester City Ilkay Gundogan, which is something I said will happen with time. You know, people were already criticizing. Unfortunately, Barcelona fans are very fickle, and they were already criticizing Gundogan, saying he's old, he's done, we need to get rid of him, even though, you know, he just arrived this season, and it takes time to adjust to a team. I'm already seeing that adjustment, and I'm already seeing Ilkay Gundogan getting better and better with every match. And today was an excellent performance, but unfortunately was not enough. Now let's talk about our attacking line, because our attacking line is extremely, extremely lacking. Let's start with Rafinha. And I have an important question for you guys. Can we finally agree that Rafinha is trash? Or are there still people out there in denial who still think I criticize Rafinha because I have a problem against them, or because I like to play favorites, or because I'm biased? I've been accused of everything there is under the sun for the reason why I criticize Rafinha. But the only reason why I really criticize Rafinha is because Rafinha is not Barca level. I said that all throughout last season. People jumped all over me. They called me all kinds of names, said I was crazy. This season, still the same. And there's still people that defend them. But I'm hoping that after today, we can all finally agree that Rafinha is not Barca level. We already knew this guy can't dribble past any players. This guy can't even dribble past my grandma. But to top that, he can't even dribble on his own. Today he had 2 clear shots where he received the ball by himself, no one around him, face to face with the goalkeeper, and he lost the ball by himself. So not only can this guy not dribble past players, he can't even dribble past air, past wind. He can't dribble. He can't control the ball. He can't combine well with his teammates. The only passing he does is a side or back pass. The only thing this guy can do is send crosses into the box. And I'm sorry, but anybody from La Masia can do that. Anybody. Not just from Barca Athletic, from the Juvenil A, even from the Juvenil B. 15-year-old kid can come on the field and send crosses into the box all day. We don't need to pay 60 million euros for a guy to come and just send crosses into the box, because that's the only thing he knows how to do. And I'm really, really hoping that after today, people can finally see what I've been saying for months, that Rafinha ain't it. Anyways, let's keep going down the line. Robert Lewandowski had 3 chances, scored one of them, missed 2 others. I was really upset about the one with Ronald Araujo. I think Robert Lewandowski tried to head it. I think he should have let that to Ronald Araujo. Ronald Araujo was in a better position. Maybe he could have scored it or not. I don't know if it was a miscommunication between the two. I don't know if Ronald Araujo didn't tell Lewandowski, hey, I'm going for it. Or I don't know if it was just Robert Lewandowski being, a number 9 who they want every ball that they get. But I won't say it was a great match, but it wasn't a bad match either. He scored 1 goal. There's not much to say besides that. And then we have Joao Felix. For 70 minutes, I completely forgot that Joao Felix was even playing. This guy was gone. He was a ghost. He had a few good games during the first 20 minutes. Had a few good dribbles or attempted dribbles. He had a few passes here and there. Some fancy things that Joao Felix likes to do. And then he just ghosted the rest of the match. And that is becoming a very, very common problem with Joao Felix. Match after match. Well, he'll give you 1 good performance, but then he disappears for the next 2-3 matches. Then he gives you 1 good performance and he disappears for 4 matches. And so far, he has been extremely, extremely inconsistent, which is not good. Now, again, I don't want to give a final verdict on Joao Felix because, as I said before, it does take time to adjust to a team. So I don't want to say this is my final verdict on him. He just arrived. We're only halfway through the season. But so far, what I'm seeing is not good because Joao Felix has been accused of inconsistency at Atletico de Madrid. He has been accused of inconsistency at Chelsea. And now we're seeing it here in Barcelona too. Again, I don't want to say this is it. This is my final verdict on him because who knows? Maybe he can turn things around once he adjusts. But it's not looking good. And if he continues on this road, I don't believe Barcelona should pay that much money for him. Especially since Atletico Madrid want 80 million euros. Of course, Barcelona are never going to pay 80 million euros. But at this point, I wouldn't even pay the 40 million euros that Barcelona are planning to pay, given his inconsistent performance. Anyways, let's get back to the chat section, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the substitution and then about La Liga table. Let's do a few more comments, and then we'll continue with the video. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Joey says people saying Xavi out didn't watch the game. First half we were dominating, but Lewandowski and Rafinha wasted everything. We have structure. Our attack is just worthless, and our defense stagnant. Well, my friend, you are right in some of your statement, but at the end of the day, this has been a recurring problem over and over again. And if the coach cannot fix it, then who can? As I've said already all through this live stream, yes, the players are also partly to blame today, but Xavi is also partly to blame because we're not seeing an improvement. He's been here for 2 years, and we have not seen an improvement. So you have to start wondering, besides the players, who else is at fault? Because it can't just all be the players. The same way it can't be all Xavi, it also cannot be all the players. Okay, let's see. Adedeji says we need to ask ourselves this truth: is Xavi a coach? I mean, he is. I think the question you're trying to ask is he a good coach? His team isn't bad if the right tactics is used and using the correct mentality to win games. Like, I still wonder, is it must to use certain player? I think it's a combination of both, unfortunately. We need a complete rehaul of our attacking line. You know, we have Rafinha, who's complete garbage. We have Lamine, who's too young. We have Ferran, who's inconsistent, who's not Barca level. We have Joao Felix, who's inconsistent. And we have Lewandowski, who's aging. And without proper wingers, there's not much he can do. So right now, we don't have an attacking line. We have a good midfield. We have a good defense that continues to lose focus throughout matches. But so far, we don't have good offense. Maximilian says Girona for the second goal and had 3 minutes of attack, and they got a goal that should have been saved by any decent goalkeeper. I'm trying to remember which one was the second goal. I can't remember. Anyways, let's keep going. Sparsiprota. Pena is fine. The backline is the problem. We should play 2 center backs and 2 full backs. The backline was definitely a problem today. They kept losing focus. They continued to give Girona space. And most of the time, they just stood back and watched Girona players come at them instead of going forward and trying to close the space and put pressure on the players. They just stand there. Even last match, I think it was the match against, was it Atletico Madrid? I can't remember which match it was. Where Frankie de Jong literally stands there and watches the other team. God, why I can't remember what match is this? The other players just bring down the ball, take a few steps, look at the goal, and then shoot and score. And the whole time, Frankie's just standing there with his hands behind his back. And that's not just Frankie. That's most of Barcelona players. When the other team gets the ball and they're attacking, they just stand there and they're waiting. It's like, what are you doing? You're giving the other player plenty of time to decide what he wants to do, to look, okay, who's open? Am I going to shoot? Okay, all right, I'm going to do this. All right, let me get comfortable. Let me put the ball where I want it. Let me take my position. All right. You know, you're giving them all the time in the world to decide what they want to do and execute it to perfection instead of immediately running, closing the space, and putting pressure on a player. When a player has a defender that comes at him immediately, he has to take an instant decision, either pass it or shoot it. And in that split of a second, a lot of times they make mistakes they shoot it when they should have passed it or pass it when they should have shot it. Or even if they take the right decision because the other defender is coming at you so fast, you don't have all the time to like get into position, you know, put the ball where you want it to put. So sometimes they miss, even if they make the right decision. But when you stand back and just wait, you're giving them all the time in the world to decide what they want to do, to make the right decision, and to execute it to perfection because they have all the time in the world. And that's a common problem with Barcelona's defense. All right, let's get back and we'll do a few more things. I'll talk a few more things about players. Someone explained to me the substitutions because Fermin for Pedri, first of all, was late, like I said. Pedri should have been substituted during the halftime. He already looked exhausted during the first half. But then we see Balde come in as a center back. Why? I mean, yes, Andreas Christensen made some mistakes, including the first goal that was fully his fault. But why would you take out Christensen and bring Balde and play him as a center back? When Joao Cancelo was having a horrible match, way worse than Andreas Christensen's match. Why not take out Joao Cancelo and put Balde as a left back and keep Christensen? I don't get it. Someone explain it to me. Joao Felix and Rafinha coming out for Lamine and Ferran, that totally made sense. They were both doing nothing. At least Rafinha was trying it. Of course, nothing comes out his way because he just sucks. But at least he was trying things. On the other side, Joao Felix, I think all he needed was a mattress and a blanket because he could have taken a nap and it still would have, wouldn't even realized it. So that substitution makes sense, Lamine and Ferran for Rafinha and Joao. But someone explained to me, why would you take out Christensen, who's playing better than Joao Cancelo, to bring in Balde, who's a left back, and play him as a center back? I have no idea. So that you can't blame on Xavi. Now, with today's loss, I think we could confidently say that La Liga is out of reach. Because right now, Girona, actually, we'll make this like this. There we go. Girona sitting at the top of La Liga with 41 points. Real Madrid with 39. Atletico de Madrid with 34. But keep in mind that Atletico Madrid have one less match than us. So if Atletico Madrid win or draw, they're still going to be ahead of us. And then us in fourth place. So we are 7 points behind first place and 5 points behind second place. And the way the team has been playing, where we have one good match followed by 10 or 11 terrible matches, I don't see us closing the gap. I see us completely losing to Girona again. I see us completely losing to Real Madrid again. And who knows? Atletico Madrid might be able to beat us too, because next match will be at their stadium. So I think we can confidently say this La Liga season is over for us, even though the players are trying to minimize it. They're saying, oh, we're halfway through. There's still 20-something matches. But I think saying that does not make things better. Saying, oh, we're still halfway through the season does not put me at ease. What it does, it tells me that the players are getting complacent. Because it doesn't matter if we're still halfway through the season. It doesn't matter if this was the first match of the season. Every match should be played like it's a final. If that's how you truly want to win. If you keep thinking, it's okay, we lost this one. We still have more matches. Oh, we lost again. That's okay. We have 30 more. Oh, we lost again. Who cares? If you keep thinking that way, then you're always going to have the same problem. And that's what I keep hearing match after match. And not just after matches, even in the pre-match press conferences, Xavi says the same thing all the time. We're halfway through the season. We still got plenty of time. And if that's the message you're giving your players, which it obviously is because he keeps saying it and then I hear the players repeating it, then that is the wrong message to send. Because when you say we still have time, it does not put me at ease. It does not make me think, oh, yeah, we still have time to come back. All it tells me is that you're getting complacent and you think, oh, I have time. It's like when you procrastinate, right? When you have homework to do or work to do, it's like, I got time. Next thing you know, deadlines are right around an hour away and you haven't done anything, right? And that's what's happening here. Oh, we got time. Next thing you know, it's going to be April and we're still going to be behind 10 points or however. And by then, it's going to be too late. But that's my thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys think? Do you think we can still salvage this season? Let me know in the chat section. And let's do a few more comments. And then we will end. All right. Marek says, Mo, why did we buy Rafinha? He was the worst today. I've been asking that question since last season. But I was told I was a hater. I had a personal problem against Rafinha, that I was biased, that I was playing favorite. Someone even told me last live stream that Rafinha was better than Lewandowski. I don't know what to say, guys. All right. Anyways, Barca Vibe says Felix shouldn't be more than 15 mil. Agreed. The way his inconsistency, I agree. Okay, let's see. Aspar says 8.4 is generous for Gundogan. He missed so many chances before he scored. I don't think it was too generous. The way he played and the way he was distributing the ball, the way he was combining with his teammates, the way he was coming back to defend, cutting passes, intercepting plays. I think he had a spectacular match. Yeah, he missed some chances, but I don't think it was too generous. Jahez says, how about we replace Xavi with Girona manager because he knows what he's doing, and like Xavi clearly looking like a deer caught in the headlights. So I said that actually before, when people asked me if you were to fire Xavi, who would you replace it for? And I think Mitchell would be a great coach because you saw Girona how they play. And I mean, they play like Barca's supposed to play. And not just that, Girona has a budget of, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think it's 60 million euros. That's their budget. That's insane. That's like what just Rafinha cost. And that's their entire budget to put a whole team of 22, 23 players together. They have 60 million. And that's what we spend on just one player. And yet, with such a limited budget, Mitchell is doing incredible things. So yeah, I would definitely choose Mitchell over Xavi. Let's see. One more and then we'll end it. Nicholas says, first it was injury. Now it's who to blame. Tomorrow they buy Brazilian players and you say the Senegalese player is not ready. But see how Eric has become useful. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're talking about Mikkel Faye, he's not ready. He just joined Barca Athletic. And I don't know what him has to do anything with this match. I mean, what you think if we played Mikkel Faye, the team would have done better? I don't know. Anyways, Soccer Sense says this coach don't know anything to coach big players. He can't improve players. I think he knows how to manage big players, but he doesn't know how to coach a team. Because managing big players is very difficult as far as managing their egos, keeping the locker room together. And that's something that Xabi has done well. We have to say that because for the past 5-6 years, ever since Luis Enrique left, the locker room has been very fractured. We've all heard the stories of, Messi, Busquets, Alba, kind of like the elite on their own world and then everybody else. And then there was a lot of drama and a lot of shit talking, and it was very fractured for many, many years. And Xabi has done an amazing job in bringing the locker room together, and we can see it. So he knows how to manage big players, where he doesn't know how to manage as a team because he has all these players. He knows how to bring them together. He just doesn't know what to do with them once they're on the field. And then we do have a donation today. Aspar Seprotan. Thank you so much for your donation. He says Girona and Real Madrid to both fall off badly. Girona are playing great, and Madrid has the most informed player in the world. Don't see it happening. I agree with you. I don't think Madrid are playing good. But, they do have Jude who keeps saving them. But, I mean, Girona they're on a whole nother level, and we saw it today. I mean, today it wasn't like, we got unlucky or we had injured players or we were missing Pedri or maybe we made some mistake. No, today we lost because Girona were superior, period. There's no way around it. There's no other explanation. Girona were much, much superior in every way, offensively, defensively, in every way. They were superior to us. And there's no doubt about it. Anyways, with that, we will end the live stream. Thank you, guys. We had a big turnout. I know it was not what we all expected. It's a disappointing day, but that's the reality of Barcelona right now, unfortunately. What can we do? But I will see you later tonight. I will be making a news video later tonight. Hopefully good news. And as always, Visca Barça.